Whoa, whoa, it is windy out here. Holy cow, I almost just lost my camera. We are live out here in front of 500 Pearl Street, in front of the Diddy trial. It is windy in New York City. That's Diddy's family right behind me leaving. His mom, dad, Misa, everybody. Oh my gosh, this wind is crazy out here. Hold on one second. Let me make sure I don't blow away. Hold up, hold up. All right, yeah, it's madness in the courtroom today, man. Crazy. I told you guys this morning, whoa. I told you guys this morning, closing arguments were gonna be crazy. Let me find a better place here to, yeah, there we go. Let me put this camera here like this. Woo! There you go. Whoa. All right, there we go. I think I've secured the camera a little bit better. It's gonna be shaky, but at least it's not gonna fall on me. Yeah, madness going on behind me in the courtroom. As promised, I told you guys today was going to be madness. Please give me a thumbs up if you could hear me through the wind, but I think the microphone should be able to hold up. Maybe I'll hold a little bit closer to me here. Yeah, yes, it is windy, but I found a place for the camera so we'll not lose it. Like I said, going on now, right behind me, Diddy's mom, his daughters came here today. All the sons was in the house. The whole entire family was here for Diddy, for the closing arguments of the prosecution, which I'll get into in 1 second. There's Misa leaving right there. There's Vado leaving right there. Right there, I'll show you guys there. Look at the crowd. They're going crazy for Vado and Misa. There's Vado right there walking out. There you go. All right, I caught that for you guys. I'm not going in that crowd and catching his mom, sister. Like I said, the twins were here. Whenever the twins are here, it gets chaotic. And whenever the twins are here, it gets chaotic. But I was happy that I could catch that for you. I think they're in that van leaving right there. That's his twins and mom. Like I said, all the boys were here. Christian was here. Justin was here. Everybody, man. Quincy was in the building. It was a madhouse. It was a madhouse. I just want to wait for everything to calm down and then I'll start. I have so much to tell you guys. Man, get a drink, get a tea, get a coffee, get something, strap in. I have so much to tell you guys, man. So much went on today. Crazy. The door is open for Diddy and team to take this case. The prosecution's left the door wide open. Right before I go, hold on, let me see who's in the building here. Give a couple of shout outs as things go on behind me. I'll let you guys see what's going on. Joyce is here, Felicia is here, Beth is here, Lisa is here, Frank is here, Robin is here, Crystal is here, Sean is here, Clean Truth TV is in here, Tess is here. What up, Tess? Tess is also here. Felicia Thomas is here, Robin Brooks is here, Sam Cal is here, Sharon Jackson is here, Prince D is here, Bruce is here, Dorothy, my gosh, Laura, Frankie, Clean TV again, I already said that. All right. What up, everybody? What up? Come on in. TT is here. Sean Grant is here. Frankie is here. TT is here. Let's go. There you go. Robin. All right, that's everybody. All right, let's get started. Look at the commotion, man. I like the commotion. All right. Anybody else spotting? Anybody else doing anything out here? Guys, all right, while all that is going on, we have pages and pages to go through today. It was intense, okay? Hold on, let me get my page. Hold up. Sorry guys, I was a little unprepared, but I wanted to start so that you guys can see a little bit of the commotion that's going on behind me. Whoa, camera. Hold up. All right, normally I start off the day with giving you a recap of my morning show, but I'm not going to do that today because I have so much to get to. So for those who didn't catch the morning live, please go and do that. I will not have enough time to recap that. I did give you guys, all right, everybody's gone now. Misa's gone, the twins are gone, Vado's gone. Things will calm down a little bit. Everything will calm down. So yes, normally I give you guys a quick recap of what I told you guys this morning, but I will not be able to do that. So make sure you go and check out this morning live. I gave you guys some good tea in there and some good information, okay? We're gonna start out by talking to you guys about day 31 of the Diddy trial, the closing arguments for the prosecution. Let me first start off, I just wanna give you guys something at the top. before I even get into the day. I think the feds made a horrible and huge mistake today in their closing arguments. I will get into the details and I will let you know why, but I feel like the door is open for Diddy and his defense team tomorrow to run away with this case. Now, for those of you who might be new in here, I do not take sides. I have no skin in the game. I do think Diddy has caused some crimes, and I do think that he has some, some mental damage, and there's things that he needs to work out. Sorry. But here, I am here just really to tell you what has gone on today. I'm your eyes and ears in the case, but I have no skin in the game. I try to stay as neutral as possible and call it like I see it. I'm not on anybody's side. I'm not on anyone's team. However, having said all that, just keeping it real, the prosecution did the same mistake that they've been doing for days, and they just reiterated it even more today. I will break it down, leaving the door huge, wide open for Diddy and team to walk through it. For those of you who are not experienced in court, the two most important times of a court, I don't care how long, if it's one day or if it's a year, the two most important things is jury selection and closing arguments. And we have already told you how great and diverse this jury is, and that's advantage Diddy. I don't care what anybody says. The very diverse, black, white, male, female, just it's so diverse. Even the lawyers on the prosecution says that we have such a great diverse jury. So that was a win on both sides, but advantage Diddy. The next important day in court, my friends, is closing arguments. Closing arguments are what the jury really listens to day in and day out. They hear testimony, they're sleeping, they're doing whatever, blah, blah, blah. They really start paying attention. They're like, all right, we just went through 6 or 7 weeks. We're gonna listen today. And the prosecution totally dropped the ball. Sit down, like I said, get a coffee, get a tea, get a drink, do whatever you gotta do. I'll explain to you and I'll take you through the entire day and let you know why I think Diddy's team has a huge opportunity to take this case and run tomorrow morning. So, as my day started out, I go inside, I get in the elevator, and who is there? Tenny Garagos. She walks up, she walks in, me and her are there. I cannot talk with her about the case, but she said, hello, Trent, how are you? And I was like, oh, shoot, you know who I am. Hello, Teddy. That's how my day started off, okay? That's one. Second thing, we go inside the court right now. Well, we go into court, and normally I'm one of the first people in there. I walked in, and there was already, it was already halfway full. Some of Diddy's team was there a little bit early, some more little Diddy supporters, and a lot of press was in there. We do know it was definitely going to be a big day. Mark Agofino, sorry, I always pronounce his name wrong. Mark Agnifilo, he walks in and he grabs the mic off of the jury stand, not the jury stand where the prosecution is going to say their closing arguments. He takes the mic and he's like, hey, mic check, 1 2 1 2, and he starts tapping it. We're like, what is he doing? He takes it off. He says, hey, does anybody want to do karaoke? Now, I always say how funny and how goofy Mark is, and I'm like, why would he be doing this? I don't know if it's a strategy or what, but I'm just letting you know the things that you cannot hear on Twitter or when you see, when you see transcripts. These are the things that are going on, and that's what I want to tell you. I want to try to show you, give you be your eyes and ears in courtroom. Diddy's team is very relaxed. Their lawyers are very nonchalant. Diddy walks in, he's hugging his lawyers, he's giving them high fives, he's giving them pounds. I told you, Mark is there like, hey guys, want to do karaoke? Like, Diddy is facing life. He could go to jail for the rest of his life, and Diddy and his team are making jokes with the microphone that they want to do karaoke. This is how the day starts off. You're not going to hear this on Twitter, or you're not going to see this during the transcripts, all right? So I want to give you guys information on that. Wow, it is windy. I'm gonna maybe put my foot down here. So after that happens, Misa and Vado walk in. People haven't seen them, I think, since opening our. So that, not like a kerfuffle, but people are like, oh shoot, Misa's here, whatever, blah, blah. Then, like maybe 15 people from Diddy's family, some people I haven't seen anymore. One younger kid, I think maybe like an uncle or a nephew or something, they walked in. I told you guys already that Diddy walked in maybe around 5 minutes before that. He was very surprised, the look on his face, to see the courtroom, like how many people are in there. Normally when he walks in, there's me and a couple of people. He says, what's up to me or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But he walked in and he was like, wow, like I'm really, really happy for this support. Then his family smiles back and laughs with him. He stops and talks to Misa. He's not allowed to cross like his little barrier there. He has like guards watching him. So he's maybe like 10 or 15 feet away, or maybe like 17 feet. So he's talking with Misa, giving her the heart thing and saying a couple of things to her. Very excited to see Misa. Then Miss Combs walks in, his mom, very happy to see her. Then most people are in there. Most people are sitting at this point. This is around maybe like 8:40. Then the three daughters walk in, and the court is elated. Like Diddy, I've never seen him smile so big to see the twins and the other daughter. I don't remember the other daughter's name. I can't remember. But anyways, his three daughters walk in, and everybody's so happy to see them. Regardless of however you feel about Diddy, it was a great family moment for them. I don't think they've all been together like this from maybe, I think, opening statements. If you guys remember when they had their opening statements, the girls got a little uncomfortable, I think, the first day of testimony. And from what I know, they haven't been back since. So it was a good little family moment, all right? Like I said, regardless of whose side you're on, family is family. All right, there's somebody back there taking pictures or doing something with somebody. Anyways, I'm just gonna focus on you guys. The daughters, another kind of cute moment is the daughters write like these hand messages to Diddy, but they can't pass it to him directly, so they gave it to Tenny Garagos, and she put it in a folder, and then she gave it to Diddy at the table, and Diddy was able to read notes from his three daughters. So I thought that was really nice, and he turned around and he gave the heart symbol. Then last minute, as always, Justin and Quincy walks in, okay? So that is everything who walked in. Like I said, just trying to give you a feel for the courtroom. You guys are not gonna get this on transcripts. I am your eyes and ears. If you were sitting down here, this is everything that you would see. That took place across maybe a half an hour time period. Oh, wow, who is that? Does anybody, there's something going on. See that over there? Anyway, something going on. Anyways, okay, so the judge walks in now and he says, hey guys, is there anything that you need us to do? The prosecution gets up and says, yeah, I needed to change the immunity charge. He's like, okay, fine. I needed to change the buy and selling. This is from the charging conference they had yesterday. So they're adding two little things in. Then the judge says, okay, the charging conference is now finalized. We will send them to your teams in a couple of minutes. If you guys saw yesterday's closing, I got out of court super late yesterday, like 8 p.m. And we worked, I think, maybe like 6.5 hours yesterday. I was a little afraid today was gonna start late. I thought there'd be more objections, but to my surprise, to my chagrin, two small changes and we got the charging conference finally done. The jury instructions are completed this morning. So happy to report that to you guys, okay? The judge said something, I don't know if you guys really care, but during closing ceremonies, we're not allowed to leave and go out to the bathroom. Really making closing arguments very serious. Normally, when we're in the courtroom, you have to raise when the jury comes in or the judge and you sit down. But normally once they start, once you're in the courtroom, that's your seat for the whole day. You're allowed to go to the cafeteria if you want. You can come back, you can take a break. If you get tired, you can go to the bathroom. Obviously you can't be loud and make noise, but you can come in and out. Today was the first time that the judge says, none of that. Sorry, something just flew in my mouth. The judge says the second the closing arguments start, nobody's allowed to leave. If you leave, you're not coming back in until lunchtime. So the minute he said that, that had a very, very serious tone for the crowd and of course the lawyers, okay? So what is that? Something happened. Oh yes, somebody came up and had some little objection to something and they're like, sir, Your Honor, we need to take a quick break. So we took a 15-minute break before closing arguments start. Mark walked by me and shook my hand and he said, thank you for coming, Trent. I don't know why Tenny and Mark are shaking my hand today, but who knows? I don't know. We had a good day. Maybe it's the suit. But he says, thanks for coming. We all went outside, took a little bit of a break. Now, Brian, Mark, and Diddy are standing at the desk, and they tell everybody to be seated. Closing arguments started at 10:10. Court started around 9. All of that back and forth, we started at 10:10. Okay. Now, the prosecution starts their closing arguments. It's not Maureen Comey. It's, I forgot her first name, but it's Slovakian, I think is her last name, okay? She starts out and says this. Of course, I didn't write out the whole thing, but these are her first sentences. She said, over the last several weeks, we have shown you guys Sean Diddy Combs' true self, and not the entertainer or not the public persona who you may think, but we showed you the leader of a criminal organization, the leader of a criminal enterprise. And I was like, oops. And I was like, damn, hold on a second. Let me tighten this up. Just so you guys know, there's a lot going on. The wind, there's people yelling around me. Jeez, come on, people. Okay, hold on. Could this wind stop? Okay, sorry about that, guys. So she says, over the past 7 weeks and today, we are going to summarize a man that blew up a car, a man that bribed people, a man that SEX trafficked people again, and again for his own SEX pleasures. We are going to show you a man that ruled with power, violence, and fear. And he does not take no for an answer. And it is time to put an end to his reign. It is time to prove him guilty and put him in jail. I was like, yo, the prosecution is not coming to play. I was like, okay, this is what I was waiting for. Yes, I know I told you 5 minutes ago I was disappointed, but they had the first good 2 minutes, and then it was downhill from there. Sit back, I'll tell you. The opening was a movie. The opening had me like, hold on a second here. Like, very, very good. So, first they started off with the CNN video, and he said, she said still in her opening, where you saw the CNN video, you saw him putting hands on her, you saw Diddy dragging her back into a freak off. You saw Jane running away in her house. And then we showed you how Diddy dragged her back into her house, dragging her back into a freak off. You saw him being demanding and telling people they need to be silent and shamed to keep his crimes quiet. His small team and inner circle helped him cover up his crimes. He would not take no for an answer. He did this over and over and over a 20-year time frame with all of his money, fame, and power. He did this to numerous amounts of people, and today you must make him pay for his crimes, and you must make him feel our wrath. RICO involves the K word, taking somebody, SEX trafficking, arson, etc. We are going to break everything down for you. Count 1, 2, 3, and 4. I was like, okay, go ahead, feds. Y'all ain't playing around. She said, you guys might think, and there's reason to believe, super chat, thank you very much, Bruce. All right, I'm already in 18 minutes and I got a good job, super chat. Love y'all, man. So she continues, Miss Slovakian, I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Miss Slovakian continues, she goes, you guys might think that RICO needs to be an organization like the mafia, but we're gonna prove to you today that it's not. And it's more about an enterprise, more about people coming together and causing crimes together. His enterprise served to include, his enterprise was organized to serve him, and it include his sexual desires, his SEX desires. We are gonna call his crew today the Combs Enterprise, and not the enterprise that you may have heard, the Sean Combs Enterprises Incorporated. No, this is the illegal enterprise called the Combs Enterprise. And you guys are gonna hear things today about KK, his chief of staff, his loyal lieutenant who contacted others to help Diddy bribe people, to help Diddy cause arson, and to help Diddy cover up his alleged crimes of sex trafficking. And not only not only KK, but also D-Rock, Uncle Paulie, etc. We're gonna remind you guys about the night when one of these associates saw Suge Knight and they ran back to tell Diddy they got GUNs and went to look for Suge Knight. Yes, you remember those GUNs with the serial number shaved off? Yes. What kind of professional protection services needs GUNs with the number shaved off? I was like, she is making a strong point. She said KK made $600,000 per year, and most of her time was spent helping Diddy and his criminal organization. She said, 100, sorry, I didn't have time to go over my notes, hold on. 100% testified that they were part of a criminal organization. I don't know what this is. 100 testified they were part of a criminal organization, but they were smarter than the other criminals. Sorry, I don't know what that is. And I have a star beside that. 100, one testified they were part of an organization, but they were smarter than that, they were criminals. Sorry, I don't remember what that was. Anyways, she said they all conspired and agreed, and she's running down now what racketeering is gonna be. And here is where it starts getting boring and starts getting docile and starts getting redundant, okay? She says they distributed DRUGs, they conducted the K word, which is taking people. There was arson, there is bribery, there's sex trafficking, there's the P word, which is, selling yourself, forced labor, and witness tampering. We are going to run down and break down how this criminal organization conducted all of these things under the RICO Act. Now, let me take a quick pause out here. We have been hearing for the past couple of days that there was drop charges under the RICO Act, and they're gonna take away the K word, they're gonna take away arson, they're gonna take away some things. I told you guys this morning that they were gonna take away just the attempted K word, the attempting arson. Proof today, they started off their closing arguments showing they're gonna show proof of all of these things. They, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, they are saying in their closing arguments, or they said in their closing arguments, that Diddy broke 8 predicate acts in RICO, and they only have to find guilty 2 counts of the predicate acts, okay? This is where they started losing the jury, by the way. This is where things start going downhill, and the prosecution always does this. They started to get over technical. They should have kept, just how I presented in the past 5 minutes, the leader of a gang, the leader of an organization. You thought he was this, da-da-da. Whoa. Once they started talking about RICO, the yawns started. We're gonna explain to you what distribution of DRUGs is. We're gonna explain to you what kidnapping is. We're gonna explain to you what arson is. We're gonna explain to you, we're just like, yo, we just sat down for the past 7 weeks and we heard all of this stuff. Keep on being exciting, prosecution. You were good. For the first 5 minutes, you guys were amazing. Anyways, they go on to being extra technical, and they said, to find him guilty, you only have to find him guilty of 2 of the predicate acts. And they also said something that I didn't even know, and I wanted to tell you guys. Not only do they only have to find 2, but they could find 2 of the same thing and find him guilty of RICO. Let me break that down for you. For example, if they find him guilty of arson 2 times, that's enough to find him guilty of RICO. Let me repeat that. For example, DRUGs, if they find him guilty of DRUGs under RICO, and there's 2 times, that's enough. They don't need to find anything else. Thought that very, very strange, but I was like, okay, let me give you what they said. They're like, let's talk to you guys about DRUG distribution. Here's where it starts to get sticky, y'all. They says every single freak off, Diddy fed DRUGs to the girl. I was like, are you really saying that? Every single freak off, Diddy fed DRUGs to the girls? Come on, that's a little bit of a stretch, right? Then they said, we just want to clarify what DRUG distribution is. Distribution doesn't have to be a major unit moving keys around. Distribution could be passing DRUGs to one person. Basically, indirectly saying, if I have a vial of the white stuff and I give it to this lady that's right here and I give it to her, that's DRUG distribution. And that is one act under RICO. And just like what I told you before, if you do that 2 times, that is you breaking a predicate act 2 times, and that's enough grounds to charge me for RICO. Now listen, I always tell you guys, I am not a lawyer, and they are the lawyers in there. And I'm sure that might be technically right, but you're not asking an AI machine to find somebody guilty. You're asking a group of 12 individuals from the Southern District of New York to say, the only grounds for RICOs that you need is distribution is me. Let's say this is a little vial, and I give it to this lady. That's distribution. They made it clear. They made it clear. Hold on, I want to see it. Yes, quantity does not matter. A small amount is fine. So this is actually not a good example. Here's a better example. Y'all know me. I like to be technical. Here, this is my hand sanitizer, okay? So if you have this little thing here, like filled with some DRUG, and I pass it to that lady, it doesn't matter that it's a small amount. It doesn't matter that it's a personal amount. It does not matter. That constitutes DRUG distribution, which falls under a predicate act of RICO. So if I do that 1 time, and then tomorrow I come another time and give it to her, boom, you're done. That's a RICO charge. That's how the prosecution started out their day. Come on, bro. If that's the case, then I know there's at least 90% of the enterprises or businesses in North America that will be able to be found for RICO. So you're trying to tell me, if somebody owns a company, or somebody's working, or 2 people are working at a company, and one goes out and gets a little vial on the street for a Friday night, and you give it to somebody in an organization, and you do that 2 times, that's 2 counts under predicate act, that's RICO? This is what you're trying to say? Yo, you lost me. They lost me with that one, man. I'm sorry. They gave a list of all the hard DRUGs that Diddy was taking from Brendan Paul, and obviously I can't say them on YouTube, but you all know all the DRUGs that Diddy was taking, the white stuff, the E word, the 2C or whatever, blah, 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 everything there, except for I think maybe they didn't say like the H word. And I understand that DRUGs are illegal, don't get me wrong, I fully understand that, but every single testimony, even from Brendan Paul, who was supposed to be the alleged mule, he said they were very small personal amounts. If they wanted to charge Diddy with a DRUG charge and separate from RICO, I would say, hey, at the end of the day, it is illegal, bro. I know mad people that are inside right now for 2 rocks, all right? So fair is fair. So if you want to charge him for that little vial and you want to give him a DRUG charge, I totally get that. I'll totally be on your side for that. But to put that under a RICO, and it's a predicate act, out of a organization conspiring to cause a crime, but the crime is a small vial that's personal amount, and you, Brendan Paul handed it to Diddy, so that's a distribution, and Diddy handed it to the girls. So now all of a sudden, he is a DRUG distributor because he handed it to the girls to take a pill of E. Lost me with that one, sorry. She said, Jane testified that Diddy asked her to fly and pick up DRUGs. We already know that. Diddy's family, oh here, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys, I'm gonna have little side notes, sidebars, because my goal here is to let you know the reactions in the court. You guys may have heard this information before or read it on Twitter or got the transcripts, but I wanna let you guys know whenever there's something going on, I'm gonna say sidebar and I'm looking at the jury or looking at Diddy's family, okay? So once they're talking about the distribution and all of this stuff or whatever, I'm looking now at Diddy's family, and Diddy's family is fixated on the screen. Daughters haven't looked away. Diddy is not looking at the screen. Diddy is not impressed by this DRUG distribution, handing it to somebody in his criminal organization, okay? Also too, the prosecutors say right now that the prosecutors, they literally say right now, at this point, to the jury, they're like, jury, Before I even continue, I've only been talking for 10 minutes. I have just proven RICO. The fact that Brendan Paul said that he got personal DRUGs for Diddy and he handed it off to the girls, and then the fact that Jane said that she brought DRUGs, that's 2 counts of DRUGs. Jury, we have just proven RICO to you. The jury was like, are you joking? Like, are you joking? Horrible. I see I have here, come on, this is, I was like, come on, this is crazy to me. And I put an asterisk, it doesn't matter how small, if personal, and it just, distribution means that you can pass it. I already told you guys that. Prosecutors say, prosecutors say he distributed over 100 times. Oh, that was what that little note was. Yes, yes. The prosecutor said that they have proof that Sean Diddy Combs distributed DRUGs over 100 times. They are saying passing it in a room is DRUG distribution. Let me tell you something, y'all. If these charges land for these reasons, this is held as a precedent. A lot of people you know are going to jail. I'm just telling you that right now, okay? Craziness. All right, so that was DRUG. And for me, it was very, very strong, and then it really took a nosedive. They lost me personally. Again, this is just my opinion. I don't know how anybody else is feeling. Y'all could draw your own opinions. The jury could draw your own opinions. Everybody in the room was like, and after we had our first break, everybody was like, did you hear what they said about DRUG distribution? Like, what is going on here? That should have been a simple simple DRUG charge, not grounds for RICO. Okay, that is DRUG. Let's go now to, they said, again, they're breaking down RICO. They're breaking down the 8 predicate acts that he broke under RICO, although they've already proven 2, and they've already proven RICO. They basically could arrest it, but they're like, we'll keep on going and we'll tell you more. So now they're talking about the K word, keeping somebody, okay? They're like, he kept somebody 3 times. He says the first time was Cassie in 2009 at the London hotel. He was hiding Cassie to keep her away from her bruises. There was one time that he put hands on her, and he put her in that hotel for a couple of weeks. Now, you guys, I'm sure most of you have been following this. Going forward now, I'm not going to break down all of these stories for you because I'll be here for the next like 3 hours, all right? So I'm sure most of you know by now the 2009 London hotel. After Diddy put hands on her, he put her in a hotel because he didn't want anybody to see her bruises. They're counting that as keeping somebody, the K word, okay? Again, that's up to you if you think that that is keeping somebody. According to the prosecution, they say Cassie didn't want to be there, so that is the K word, okay? The second time under K word is Caitlin, I keep on saying Caitlin Clark, Capricorn Clark, 2009, the lie detector test in NYC. You guys know about that already. When they asked her, because Diddy allegedly said that there was some jewelry missing and he wanted to give her a lie detector test, and again, D-Rock or some other people, I think it was maybe Uncle Polly, took her to New York in this abandoned building. And he says, if you fail this lie detector test, they're gonna find you at the bottom of the ocean, okay? And again, the prosecution is saying, that is quote unquote kidnapping. Oh, I just said the K word, sorry. YouTube, give me some grace, okay? So that's their second predicate act of the K word, keeping somebody. The third one is breaking, the day when they broke into Kid Cudi's home, and Diddy went to Capricorn Clark's apartment. You guys remember the story where he went to her and he was like, yo, I heard Cassie is with Kid Cudi. And she's like, yo, I don't know about this. I don't have anything to do about this. Allegedly, Diddy had a GUN and he's like, yo, you're coming with me? Let's go. The feds are saying that that is taking somebody against their will. Now, I just told you their 3 counts of taking somebody. It's hard to say this. In a technical sense, in the technical definition, with their testimony, it's up for argument. But when you really like take it out of, let's say like putting it into an AI filter, do you guys think the jury is gonna think that that is grounds for taking somebody? I'm not too sure about that one, okay? I'll let you guys decide. Then they say, all right, let's give you guys an example of arson. They say, Kid Cudi his car was set on fire, and they questioned who did it. Diddy doesn't buy his. Oh, sorry. They questioned who did it, and although they're saying that maybe Diddy wasn't the one who actually set Kid Cudi's car on fire, and they made a joke and they say Diddy doesn't buy his own soup, so why do you think he would create his own arson? Obviously, he had somebody else do it. So they're indirectly saying he broke a predicate act under RICO, which is arson. Hey, somebody give me a super chat. Hold on, let me pull this up. Trina gave me a super chat. Y'all give Trent some grace. Thank you for your coverage. Thank you very much, Trina. Appreciate you. Hold on. All right, thank you very much. So yeah, they're like, hey, we know he didn't do it, but Diddy is rich. He doesn't even get his own soup. However, we do know that he did play a part in it. Just want to remind you that Kid Cudi himself said he doesn't have any proof that Diddy did it. He said he asked Diddy a dinner after all of it blew over, and he said Diddy told him he never admitted to it. So there's no actual proof or direct proof, but the prosecution wants you to think that Diddy broke the arson, one of the predicate acts under RICO, which is arson, okay? Then they go on to bribery. They bring up the CNN video, and they said during the CNN video, you see that the security guard comes up, Flores, and allegedly, Kim Johnson, another super chat, thank you very much, Kim. They said he offered Flores a stack of money right away there. That's bribery. Another side note, juror number 12 is fast asleep. We're at 11:10, 1 hour in, and juror number 12 is fast asleep. I think this is the holdout juror. Oh yeah, this is the black girl with her hair pulled back. I think she's gonna be a holdout of not guilty, fast asleep. 1 hour. Like I told you guys, I love my little sidebars that I give you guys, by the way. Like I told you guys, it started out so strong at 10:10. By 11:10, one juror was already sleeping, and I was like checked out. I was like, are you serious? Like that DRUG distribution thing they wanted to try to make us believe was crazy to me. Anyway, so like I said, one juror falling asleep. They brought up another count of bribery. KK helps to cover up Cassie's hotel, which is, again, the CNN. D-Rock helps to try to pay off Eddie, which was to try to get the tape back. And the federal government is saying this completes bribery. So there was one security guard that came up during the alleged, well, not the alleged because we've seen it, while Diddy was putting hands on her. You see that she went to the phone, he tried to bribe that guy, and then after, to get the tape, he tried to bribe 2 or 3 other people. So that is already right there, breaking a predicate act under RICO, done. I have a note here, it says prosecutors are bending the law to prove bribery. Bribery has to be when a witness is about to testify and only when there's police involved. But the prosecution said, we just want to give you guys some more information about bribery. Yes, no police were called in this case, but that's just because Diddy didn't allow the police to be called, which is them bending the rules. Bribery, if I ask somebody here on the street, hey, don't say something and I'll give you money, that is not bribery in law. That is me paying somebody for something. Bribery is when you are interrupting a witness from testifying or you're interrupting a police investigation. That is bribery. But because it's under the RICO Act, the feds are trying to like bend a law to make you think that this is bribery, but they know that it's not technically bribery. And Diddy's team tomorrow is gonna say that Diddy didn't pay the security guard and he didn't pay the tape so that he wouldn't go to jail. He paid it so that it wouldn't go public because he's a public figure. You can't tell somebody the reason why they paid something. You're gonna expect a jury to believe your version of a story, or you're gonna expect the jury to believe your defense's decided the jury. That's up for you guys to decide. Cassie said she didn't want to press charges. Cassie said not to call the police. Diddy said not to call the police, and he wanted to buy the tape. Do you think he wanted to buy the tape because he was trying to avoid jail, or do you think that he was trying to protect his public image? You saw what happened to Diddy as soon as that videotape came out. I think Diddy was literally, for sure, of course he doesn't want to go to jail, don't get me wrong, but he was really doing that for his public image, because if that would have came out, it would have been over for him. But like I said, I want to try to stay as neutral as possible. Y'all let me know why you think he bought that videotape, okay? Now, let's go into SEX trafficking, okay? I'm gonna try to run by this quickly, but I wanna give you guys everything, okay? So, as you guys know, there's SEX trafficking inside of RICO. There's 8 predicate acts. Just wanna remind you guys what they are again, in case you don't remember. Eight predicate acts. DRUG, distribution, taking somebody, arson, bribery, SEX trafficking, selling yourself, forced labor, witness tampering. You only have to find 2, but they have, in the past hour, showed you like 8 or 9 of them, okay? So now they're saying, just want to remind you, Jerry, there's SEX trafficking under RICO, and then there's SEX trafficking, force, fraud, and coercion, and SEX trafficking under the Mann Act. There's 3 different counts of SEX trafficking. At least they spared us and didn't do them all separately. They said, we're gonna talk to you about SEX trafficking all together, but we just wanna remind you that it is really in 3 places. Inside of RICO, outside force, fraud, and coercion, and also in the Mann Act, okay? So, they make this point, they say, here is why we put SEX trafficking inside of the RICO, because it was also about his team helping him. So the fact that it was his team also helping him, that goes to the criminal enterprise, which goes under the RICO Act, okay? They said they put up on the screen when this started. You know, this person just walked super close by me, like tried to brush me, and anyways, whatever. It's New York City, you gotta be careful out here. They put up on the screen a picture of all of the SEX workers that Cassie, Jane, and Diddy hired. It was effective, y'all. His daughters looked and then looked away and looked down. It was just like, we're gonna start talking to you about SEX trafficking and the people that they paid and all of this, and here is the group. And it was like, yikes, that's pretty bad. You know what I mean? Because we keep on hearing about Cabal, we keep hearing about Paul, we keep hearing about like Jane's like 2 or 3 favorite, but to see that big picture of all of them, it was like, y'all are nasty, yo. Anyways, whoa. This wind is crazy out here. I hope it doesn't start raining. Anyway, so they put up a picture of 50 SEX workers, which was very effective. Hold on. Then they started saying, all right, guys, this is where things got good. Oh my gosh, it's so windy out here. This is when things got good. They said, we're going to describe the SEX trafficking. We're going to describe the freak offs. You guys remember those nasty nights? You remember those nights that never ended? You guys remember those nights that were filled with baby oil and Astroglide? Y'all remember those times? Diddy's daughters, again, were like, yikes. It was so bad. Like, that was, when they made points like that, that's when they scored points with the jury. When they got over technical and were trying to reach so far that I'm sure their arms were hurting them, that's when they lost. They should have stayed, in my opinion, with the big picture. Y'all remember those sex nights, those SEX nights? Y'all remember those nights that never ended? Y'all remember those nights that were 48 hours? Y'all remember those nights that were filled with red lights and candle wax? Y'all remember that nastiness? That's the reason why you need to put him in jail. They should have stayed with that kind of big presentation, that kind of theatrical presentation, instead of being like, DRU distribution. Like, it was so boring how she was delivering it, but she had some peaks. Anyways, she again now makes a very huge point. And every time I talk about this, I really like to bring up this point, because a lot of people in the comment section are like, oh, the girls liked it, the girls asked for it 1,000,000 times. Please listen to this point. This goes out to the people that say it's a weak case and the girls were in it for money and the girls liked it. Listen to this. The girls, Cassie and Jane, can agree to multiple freak-offs over multiple weeks, months, and or years. But you, the jury, only have to find one time that they said yes, only because they were coerced. Let me give you guys a definition of that very quickly. For example, when Cassie was on the plane, after years of saying, yeah, I like this, whatever, she got into a fight with Diddy and she's like, yo, I don't want to do any more freak-offs. Cassie said he came and saw her on the plane and he was like, yo, you don't want to do a freak-off tonight? All these videos I have here, look at this. I am going to go and give it to TMZ unless you do a freak-off. And she was like, all right, fine, I'll do a freak-off. It was one time, but he coerced her to do a freak-off, and that is SEX trafficking under force, fraud, and coercion. It doesn't have to be multiple times, people. Hey, thank you for the super chat. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Nunu Form from LA. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Yeah, so I really want to drive that point home. And I told you guys this for the past 2 days now. And another YouTuber told me this 2 days ago, and it really stuck in the back of my head. And I'll give you her analogy. It's hers, not mine, but I've used it every day. Shout out to that person. If you say, or you hear somebody say, yo, I only unalived one person. There's about 100 people there, but I only unalived one person. Should you not? Oh my gosh, there goes a rat. Why every time I'm out here after 5:30, there's a rat that walks by? He must be his house around here, Lod. Yeah, if somebody would say to you, I only unalived somebody one time, it sounds horrible, right? You would say, let's go to jail. So you have to think that same thing too. You have to think, Cassie could have said yes 1,000 times. She could have been into it. She could have loved it. If she said no one time and he coerced her, and she said yes only because she was afraid of him putting hands on her, that would be force. Only if she said yes, only because I don't want you to give out my videos to TMZ. That's coercion, and you have to find him guilty for that. The feds have a point. As boring and as monotonous as their closing arguments were, that is a very, very strong point that you must pay attention to. Okay, they broke down. What's up? I see you trying to record me there. Yeah. Trent out loud. Oh my gosh, that same person that tried to walk by and touch me is coming back. Oh my gosh. Okay. The rats are coming out. These people are walking around me. All right, here we go. I'm focusing. All right, so they say, ladies and gentlemen, and guys, I'm sorry if I'm making this a little bit boring, but it was boring. I'm actually trying to make it animated to not bore you guys because I want to give you guys all the details. Trust me, she was not this animated. She did not put this much. She was literally reading, by the way. This is Forrest Gardner for Urgent. I'm trying to make it a little bit more excited because people were falling asleep, yo. It was boring, okay? Anyways, she goes, Kay, I just want to walk you through what coercion means. And although it was boring, she did make some points of what coercion might be. She said, what's up, bro? Huh?
What's going on?
It's the Diddy trial, man.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem, brother. Well, I didn't even realize there's still people behind me. Anyways, let me focus on y'all, okay? So she goes, we want to break down the 3 stages of coercion, okay? Simple Savage says, Trent is so damn handsome. Well, thank you very much. Even all of this wind and craziness going on, you still found time to write that? I appreciate you, though. Yeah, somebody says, damn, it's busy. Trust me, yes. Okay, hold on. So she goes, okay, let me break down what coercion might be for some of you jurors who might not know. She said the stage 1 of Sean Diddy Combs' coercion is love bombing. He starts out with giving the girls gifts and money. Just listen to this, it really will make sense. He starts by giving out gifts and money. Then he starts teaching them what Diddy likes. Oh, I like when you do this. I like when you wear this. I like when your hair like this. He gives them kind of like little ways to let them know what pleases him, okay? He's courting them. He's grooming them. Diddy keeps giving them DRUGs. That is in the first phase. He introduces it to them like, hey, have you ever taken this DRUG? It will make you feel nice. So it's gifts, money. Hey, you want to be with me? These are the things that I like. There's no SCX yet, right? This is just the starting. This is the starting of the relationship. There's love bombing. There's, hey, you may want to take this little DRUG, this pill. Then that's the first stage. So that's a month, 2 months. Then they say the second stage is introducing them to multiple partners. Diddy he comes up to them, it's like, hey, we've been having fun, we've been doing a couple of things, whatever, blah, blah. What do you think about maybe introducing a partner into the situation for a little extra fun? Maybe we could do it one time. The swinger lifestyle. He did that with Jane, and in the beginning, Jane says, yeah, that's really cool. I would be into that. And Jane says, fine, we'll do it one night. But soon, she realizes that it's never gonna stop. Diddy makes Jane flirt with SCX workers. So again, this is just, it's starting 1, then it gets to 2, then it gets to 3. Then Diddy says, hey, if you keep on doing this, I'll give you more trips, I'll give you vacations. But it's all lies because he really just, I think it's gonna rain, y'all. It's all right, I have an umbrella. So this is the coercion, right? Hey, I like you. Hey, do you want to do this? Hey, do you want to go on trips, etc. But all of these promises are lead ups to making them feel like they're gonna be his girlfriends, but really it's all lies. And now this is where stage 3 comes in. He starts using payments and he's like, hey, it's been a year, I really like you, I'm gonna start paying for your rent, but, and I'm gonna keep up the vacations and all that stuff, but your end of it is you got to keep on doing these freak offs. And I know at the start it was just 1 or 2, but now that we're a little bit more comfortable, now we're 6 or 7 months in, I'm going to pay for your rent, I'm going to get you a house, but you got to keep doing some freak offs. According to the government, that is coercion, okay? They play a voice note from Diddy. We have put this up on our Instagram before. This is already leaked before. When he says, he calls Jane when they're a little bit of an argument, and he's like, hey, nobody's threatening you to stay, but you better get back on your job. So that's the prosecution's evidence of Diddy thinks that it's a job in his head, okay? Again, that plays to RICO. Anything that's a job or working that's illegal, that goes under the lawsuit, okay? The Cassidy lawsuits come out and the things start to change. Okay, we could skip that. Spoke about Jane's money to thing. Okay, argument, let's skip that. See, I'm already getting bored reading. I have in my notes here. Why is everybody walking so close to me today? I have in my notes here, Grandma is not impressed and she's starting to fall asleep. This is the second juror that's falling asleep, okay? And because all of this, Diddy threatens to release Jane's tape. So again, in the third stage, like I said, that's where the threatening starts. And they brought up the point where, do you guys remember when Diddy and Jane were in an argument and he was like, yo, if you keep up this argument, I'm gonna show your tapes to your baby daddy, all right? And when he says that, that is when she's like, you know what? I'm mad at you. You love bombed me. You got me into this circle and now I can't get out. And now you have these freak off tapes and now you're threatening to show it to my baby daddy. Now I'm stuck doing freak offs with you and I can't get out. That is coercion. That's them explaining coercion. You have to decide whether you believe it or not, but that is their definition of coercion, okay? Jane and Diddy continue their relationship after he threatens to show her tapes to her baby daddy. Juror number 5 starts yawning. Juror number 11, hand is on his head. That's 4 jurors who are checked out, really not listening anymore, okay? Diddy tricks Jane into doing freak offs. Again, they're just explaining coercion. The jury looks, this is sidebar, the jury looks like they were fed up. This feels like a classroom lecture. It feels like we're sitting down listening to a professor. People look at the gallery, they look back. People are sleeping, people are nodding off. It gets really boring, guys, okay? They explain the June 8th where Diddy put his hands on Jane. You guys remember that? I'm not gonna break that down for you guys. Again, we just took you from the love bombing, the introducing of DRUGs, then he gets into arguments, then he's like, yo, I'll keep on buying you houses, I'll keep on paying you rent. That's the coercion. That night after the fight, after the freak off, whatever, let's skip this because it's boring. Blah, blah, blah. The judge interrupts, we're going to lunch, okay? Boom, that was the first half. Then we come back after lunch and they start talking, they keep on talking about Jane, that he gave her a new DRUG and you might have seen her on a freak off. This is really important. This is the first time they actually talked about what was on the freak offs. After lunch, the prosecution was like, we showed you guys some freak offs and we showed you guys some things that were not good, but the defense showed you some freak offs that look like she may be enjoying it, but please don't take that in consideration because they were all high on DRUG. So that was the first time that we got some insight. They said that you might see Jane or Cassie, doing something and looking like they're being pleasured, but they're really not. They're really just high and they don't even realize what they're doing. So disregard the good things that you saw on the freak off tapes. Listen to what we say, just listen to the bad things, okay? To get somebody to agree to a freak off because they are afraid of any number of things happening is wrong and you must find them guilty. Just want to point out for the naysayers out there, it's not only, hey, did Cassie say no and he drug her in there? It's, was the yes because she was afraid? Was the yes because she was afraid of putting out a tape? That is what the prosecution is trying to get across to the jury. Not only no, because there's a lot of text messages that she says yes, But the prosecution is trying to show she said yes, but only because she was afraid that he was gonna put hands on her. Only because she thought Diddy was gonna give her tapes to TMZ. Only because Jane thought Diddy was gonna give her tapes to her baby daddy. Yes, but if it's under coercion or force, you must find Diddy guilty, okay? Stick with me, guys. We've got a couple of more to go, and then we'll take questions, okay? What is this? Cassie, entry, end, freak off, early. Okay, then, so that was Jane. And they explained the 3 stages of Jane. Now they focus on Cassie. I thought this was pretty important. So they say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, remember, this is after lunch now. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we're going to show you how Diddy sucked Cassie into this life of, SEX trafficking, and she didn't even know what was going on. You're going to see a master at work. And he says, they said, their relationship spanned over a 10-year, they had a 10-year relationship. It started when she was 19 years old. He was 35 plus years old. At that moment, I looked at Diddy's daughters, because Diddy's daughters are 18 years old. They're going to be 19 next year. I thought that was pretty smart for them to put in the age, because everybody knows his daughters are 18. He met Cassie the same age that his daughters are at now. It's pretty bad, and close to a 20-year difference. He said he signed Cassie to a record deal. He only put out 1 album, and he spent most of his time having sex with her. He took her on trips. He introduced her to DRUGs, and this continued till she was 21 years old. Before meeting Diddy, she never even took DRUGs, but he was the one who introduced her to it at a young age. He was her boss, ladies and gentlemen. He taught her different ways to have sex. He molded her. That's how the beginning, the early years of the relationship started. But next, after a few years, came the abuse. Very effective. They put up pictures of Cassie with her eyebrow. If you guys remember seeing that on Instagram or online, they put up the pictures of that her mother took of her, and it was just really good how they presented the beginning. They showed yachts, they showed her album, they showed the courting, they showed the love bombing, they showed how nice and fun, and how anybody would fall for this billionaire lifestyle. You're gonna sign me, you're gonna put out my record, and you're gonna, introduce me to this life. You're gonna show me different ways to have sex. Whoa, the man of my dreams. But it is a dark, dark ending as opposed to your bright beginning. And when they put up the pictures of abuse, again, I looked at his daughters and they looked down. If I were Diddy, I would ask my daughters not to come into the courtroom, because I'm sure the jurors are looking over at his daughters too and being like, and don't forget, he has 4 daughters together, right? There's 3 who are older and 1 baby love who's 2 or 3 years old right now. All right, so now they start talking about the abuse. And he says that you're gonna hear tomorrow in closing arguments that this was just a DV. This was just a relationship with a boyfriend and a girlfriend. They're trying to tell you guys, no, this is the way that Diddy controlled her, by putting hands on her, and controlled her indirectly to do freak offs. He controlled her looks, he controlled her nails, he controlled her hair, he controlled everything about her. He wouldn't even let her put out another album after signing her to a 10-year album deal, just because he didn't want her to make money so he could maintain control over her. He took all of Cassie's belongings. He made Cassie's mom give him $20,000. You guys know that story. I don't need to break it down. One thing that they pointed out when he asked Cassie's mom for $20,000, they showed Diddy's bank account, and then they showed, this is the month that he asked Cassie's mom for $20,000. And then that same month, he deposited $3.2 million and took out $3.1 million. Basically, that month that he took $20,000 from poor Cassie's mom, she had to take out a second mortgage for that. He spent $3.1 million on we don't know what, but he really had the nerve to be like, yo, Cassie's mom, give me $20,000. Very, very effective. Then they brought up Dawn Hughes, who was the therapist, and they said, you remember the therapist, she told you when a person is afraid of somebody putting hands on them, they don't run away. What they do is they start moving in a way to not make that person think that they're a threat to them so they won't put hands on them anymore. Just let me break that down a little bit. When somebody is in that kind of relationship, you would think most people are like, yo, I'm gonna just leave. Not all the time. Some people get in that situation and they're like, yo, I'm so afraid of him. Instead of running, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to act accordingly so that never happens again. Maybe I'll try to leave another like year or two. Oh, by the way, look, everything calmed down. See, everybody went home. I'm still here working for y'all, all right? Yeah, so that's what the mental health specialist was alluding to, and you guys know I'm a big mental health advocate, and that is a fact. Some people that get into a relationship, they just go into protective mode and they're like, I don't want that to happen again, so I am just gonna do everything I can to please this person while I make my way out in a couple of months or maybe a year from now, but I'm just gonna not make that person upset. For those of you who are like, yo, the first time he put hands on me, I would have left. That's you, but not everybody works the same way. Everybody is different. And you don't know what it is like to be in fear of somebody like Diddy. And he's just not the average guy that's putting hands on somebody. He has a lot of power. He has a lot. Diddy's son sued by woman claiming that he lured her. Somebody just sent me something. I feel some drips. I feel like it might start raining here, y'all. I might have to move. Oh, I feel the rain. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Let me just move here for 1 second. Sorry. Stay with me 1 second. Let me just do something. 1 second, guys. 1 second. All right, I'm right here. Just there's a little barrier here, so if it rains, then I won't get wet, all right? Sorry. Oh, no. Do not rain, yo. Hold on. Stay with me, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna just keep everything close in case it starts raining. I have an umbrella, so don't worry. I will stay close by. Okay, so, hold on, I wanna make sure it doesn't cover over my microphone. Okay, so, hold on, let me make sure everything is zipped up. You know, people will pickpocket me out here. Okay, yeah, sorry about that, guys. Okay, so, yeah, Don Hughes. So then they give out a list and the prosecution goes, hey guys, you know what? There's so many times where he put hands on Cassie. I only have a day to give you this rundown. I don't have time to tell you everything. I'm just gonna highlight. He put hands on her at a dinner in NYC, at one of Prince's parties, after the Kid Cudi incident. Oh, it's starting to rain. After the Kid Cudi incident. Oh, it's gonna rain, y'all. Hold on. I gotta take out my umbrella. 1 second, y'all. It's raining. Don't worry, I came prepared. I'm not leaving, y'all. Hold up. I'm gonna cover this. Stay with me, y'all. Oh my gosh, how does this damn umbrella work? Oh, all right. Whoop. Y'all came prepared, man. I checked the weather, I knew it was gonna rain. What up? All right, I'm gonna come a little closer to the camera. Hold up. All right, we're protecting ourselves here. All right, I've covered the equipment. Look at me. Yeah, buddy. You can't hold me down. You ain't gonna stop my live rain. All right, I'm a little closer to you guys, but it's all good, right? Yes, I'm staying in the rain to give you guys the tea. Okay, it can't be rainy and windy. Okay, hold on, let me keep my foot here. All right, let's continue this. All right, so they said, yo, we have a whole abuse list. He put hands on her at a party in NYC. He put hands on her at Prince's party. After the Kid Cudi incident, when he found her at Kid Cudi's house, or assumed that she was at Kid Cudi's house. He put his hands on Cassie at Mia's apartment. He put his hands on Cassie in Jamaica. Why did they have to throw Jamaica in there? Come on, I hated seeing Jamaica up in there. Shout out to my Jamaicans. Bam, 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 bam. He said he put hands on Cassie in Vegas. He put hands on Cassie at the CNN tape. He said he also put hands on Cassie's friends. They put up pictures and put a list, and they said he put hands on Mia. He put hands on Devontae. He put hands on Bonna. And they made a little joke, like, even if Bonna said it was the wrong date, y'all know when she messed up the September date, even if she got the date wrong, we do know he still put hands on her. And then he also put hands on Carrie Morgan. So, and again, they brought up Don Hughes saying, once you've been in a relationship with somebody who put hands on you, and on top of it, your friends, you're programmed to do things so that doesn't happen again. You don't necessarily try to leave that person. You're programmed to not have it happen again. this is what Diddy is doing, putting hands on Cassie. And a lot of you guys out there will admit that he, of course, did put hands on Cassie, and you're hoping that they would have caught him for putting hands on her DV. However, you can't negate the fact. Somebody just gave me a super chat. Whoop whoop. DTS 1095. Thank you for the super chat. You can't negate the fact that if somebody is putting hands on you and then says, "Yo, you want to do a freak off?" It could be and the reason why you might say yes is could be a reaction of that, right? His inner circle helped him get away with these things that he was doing to Cassie. Again, remember, they're not only talking about SCX trafficking, they're also talking about RICO. So then they list that Roger helped him cover up putting hands on Cassie. Ruben helped him, D-Rock helped him, and KK helped him, okay? Whoop, my water just dropped. It's all good, it's all good. Just make sure this camera doesn't drop. So that was the end of the Cassie relationship, and they brought up this part, which I'm sure you guys are gonna remember. The ending of the relationship, 2018, Cassie and Diddy went out for dinner, and they apparently went back to her apartment or hotel room, and that was the night that Diddy R-worded her. Now, they actually put out the fact that after he R-worded her, the prosecution said, yes, she did have consensual SEX with him after he R-worded her. However, this goes again to trauma bonding and putting hands on somebody. You can even get to the point where you're R-wording them and they still don't want to leave because they're in a relationship that they feel they can't get out of, or it might be too dangerous for them to leave. Again, that is up to you guys to decide if that is true or not, and if you believe Cassie's statements, okay? They say, okay, let's talk about freak-offs now. And they say, you know freak-offs, this is when they gain points. You know freak-offs, there were SES workers, there was hotel workers, there was hours and hours and days. There's even time where Cassie had to have somebody relieve themselves on her in her mouth, and Diddy relieving himself, and other workers relieving themselves, sometimes in her mouth. She was plummeted with DRUGs. She became addicted to DRUGs. Cassie has been reported to do over 100 freak-offs, and the prosecution says not all of them are SEX trafficking. There are some that Cassie consented to, but they're reminded that all you have to do is find one of those 100 times where Cassie said no, and that will fall under SEX trafficking. They reminded us that he, on the plane, that he showed her the tapes. And he says, if you do not, do these things, I already told you about that, about the videotapes. They also talked about the SCX tapes that they played in court. They said, once again, you may have seen some freak-off tapes that Cassie looks like she's enjoying herself, and they said something that I can't say on YouTube, but you guys can put it together. They're like, don't look at that and see that she is really enjoying herself. She's actually filled with DRUGs, and she's just doing that to please Diddy, okay? That's just all an act. They talk about the Intercontinental Hotel. They start to break down. Okay, this is the CNN videotape. This is important to tell you guys. It is pouring rain out here, guys. Woo! Gosh. Okay, hold up. Sorry. Okay, so now they're like, we would like to break down the CNN tape. Again, you guys might find this monotonous. Try sitting down. I'm trying to tell you guys this in an hour. It took them 6.5 hours to say this, okay? I'm trying to summarize it for you and make it a little exciting. They're like, now, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to break down the Intercontinental Hotel for you, the CNN tape, and explain to you why this is a freak-off. Pay attention to this and let me know what you guys think about this, okay? They said we're gonna break down the before, the middle, and the end. They said they showed text messages where Cassie was hesitant that day, that she really didn't want to have a freak off at the Intercontinental Hotel that day, but she did it to make Diddy happy. She said in the middle of the freak offs, Diddy put hands on her and she runs out the room. Then they start playing the CNN tape. The family is watching. Diddy is not watching. He doesn't like to see what he doesn't like what he is seeing. The prosecutors say that he grabbed Cassie on that CNN tape. He grabbed Cassie to bring her back into a freak-off. Now, the defense team is gonna say tomorrow that he wasn't dragging her back into a freak-off. He was dragging her back in because they were having a fight. But the prosecutions today are saying this videotape is actual sex trafficking. And we want to remind you guys, you only need to find one count. And this tape is one. You see him dragging her, you see him dragging her, you see him dragging her by her hoodie, by her hair. He's dragging her back to continue to do a freak off. The prosecution says that everything Diddy is doing, like they stop pausing it, they pause it and they're like, yo, this is what he's thinking at this moment. This is what he's thinking at this time. But there is no sound, there's no voice. How does the prosecution know what's going on in Diddy's head? How does the prosecution know that he's dragging her back for a freak off? We have heard alleged things that she actually saw a text message in his phone and she was jealous. I'm not saying what's right or wrong, I'm just saying, how is the prosecution supposed to ask these 12 jurors on a silent video to believe what they are saying is going on in Diddy's head? I think that's a big ask, but I see why they're trying it, okay? The prosecution says there is no doubt that this is SES trafficking and Diddy is dragging her back in that room to continue an SES act. I look over at Diddy's family and Misa is wiping her eyes. Her face was away from me. I didn't see tears, but I saw her wiping her eyes, okay? So they're alleging that that was the first freak off that was SEX trafficking, and that is proof. The CNN is proof under SEX trafficking under force and coercion. He is dragging her back in. The prosecution says it doesn't matter if they didn't have SEX after. It doesn't matter. The fact that there was a freak off going on and he was dragging her back, that is SEX trafficking. Now, they go on to say that there was 2 other times that they have caught them under, caught Diddy doing SEX trafficking with Cassie. They said there was a time with Daniel Phillips. It was they had a fight in a hotel room. Daniel Phillips was there. Diddy threw a bottle at Cassie. And Diddy says, listen, I know we just got into a little fight, but let's continue. And Cassie was like, no, I don't want to. Diddy looked at Daniel Phillips and was like, yo, let's go, keep it going. That is another example of SEX trafficking. They're gonna say, yeah, we got into a little lover's quarrel and they wanted to continue to freak off. The prosecution is saying that is SEX trafficking. They got into an argument, Cassie didn't want to continue, Diddy forced her, that is force, fraud, and coercion, okay? And the next time was at Cannes Film Festival. I told you guys this already. Cannes Film Festival, they got into an argument on a boat. Then they got into an argument in the hotel room. They got on the plane and Diddy says, yo, when we get back to New York, I want you to do a freak off. She says, no, I don't like that you kicked me off the boat. And that's when he showed her the videotapes and was like, yo, if you don't do this freak off with me tonight that I have planned, I'm gonna release your tapes, okay? So that is the government's version of 3 SEX trafficking under force, fraud, or coercion. Remember, you only need one. Today, the government showed the jury 3 acts of SEX trafficking, okay? Sidebar, Christian Combs walks into the courtroom at 2:45, okay? Let me see if I can skip some things. So now they start talking about the Mann Act, okay? And I didn't even write things down. Let's just skip the Mann Act because we already know Diddy is guilty of the Mann Act, okay? That's pretty simple. For those of you who don't know, that's Diddy. Did Diddy hire any SEX workers and transport them from LA to New York? Of course he did. He's already guilty of that, okay? But it's minimum time. He'll get off on time served. Let's not waste time on that. Diddy's mom, it's 3 o'clock. Diddy's mom is sleeping. Juror number 5 is sleeping, but juror number 12 has woken up. All right. Again, we're still explaining RICO. Then they say, ladies and gentlemen, we're done with the SEX trafficking. We have 4 more predicate acts to tell you. I'll run them by quickly. Forced labor. Forced labor is not only forced labor, what you might think of people like in a factory working. We want you guys to think about forced labor with Sean Combs Enterprises as Cassie and Jane being forced labor. What forced labor do you think? He was hiring them to do SEX work for them. And because they didn't have rest and they had to go for days, that is forced labor. They both worked very hard. Cassie has reported to have UTIs and she had to keep on having SEX through those UTIs. He overworked them. He gave them DRUGs to keep going. They needed days to recover. Ladies and gentlemen, that falls under forced labor. It's up to y'all to decide if that is forced labor. Seems like a little bit of a stretch to me. He says not only was Jane and Cassie under forced labor, but also Mia. Mia used to be his chief of staff, and Mia testified that she went for 5 days without sleep. She had long hours. She succumbed to several SEX harassments by Diddy. Again, I can't drill down and go into too much. If you guys never heard Mia's statement, he says that whenever there was no girls around, that he would kind of like push himself on her a little bit. And one time he put her like in a corner and he did stuff. One time she was in a room, etc., etc. Okay, I'm not gonna go into it, but she said that Mia was not SEX traffic because there was nobody else involved, but there was SEX harassment. And because of that harassment, and because she had to work 5 hours, the jury should look at that as forced labor. Okay. I have a little bit of a light bulb moment right now, okay? This is in the courtroom. I have this written down. It's around 3:30, and let me just give you a little bit of insight of my light bulb moment. It's 3 o'clock. I'm like, yo, why in the world is the government going on so long? Why are they talking? Why are they boring us? And then a light bulb came off in my head, and I was like, yo, I realized what the defense did. Let me tell you guys, for the people who watch my daily lives. Remember yesterday when I told you in the courtroom that the plan was for the prosecution to go for 4 hours today, and then Diddy's defense team, they were gonna start their closing arguments after the government was done. And they asked yesterday, stay with me, listen to this theory. They asked yesterday if they could, instead of going half day today and in the morning tomorrow, Mark said, I just want to go all day tomorrow. Give the government the whole day Thursday. Let them go and then let me go on Friday. And I was like, why did he do that? Why did he do that? And only at 3 o'clock today, I had a light bulb moment and I realized why he did it. Super smart chess move. If they would have held the prosecution to their 4-hour time limit, knowing that Mark was coming after them, their whole closing arguments would have been a lot shorter. Knowing that they had the whole day, they took it upon themselves to add more things. And what have I been telling you for the past 10 minutes? People were sleeping, people were tired. What I've been telling you for the past 2 weeks, the jury is tired. Mark and Diddy's defense team set a trap today for the prosecution and they walked right into it, ladies and gentlemen. They took their entire day of closing arguments and added 2 or 3 hours to their closing arguments and bored the heck out of us. And the jury is going home yet another day and saying, oh my gosh, the prosecution, they are so monotonous, they are so boring, they tire us out, and that lends to Diddy. I bet you money, Diddy's defense team is gonna do exactly what they did with their defense when they said, oh, we're gonna put on a defense for 2 weeks, we're gonna put on a defense for 1 week, oh, we're gonna put on a defense for 2 days, and then they said, you know what, we don't need a defense. I bet you tomorrow, Mark comes in and says, these are my closing arguments, and he keeps it short and sweet. He's not gonna take his 4 hours because they wanna show the jury that they are a stark contrast to the prosecution. They're not asking you to believe that distribution is me handing it to a guy on the street. They're not gonna ask you to think that SEX for a whole night is forced labor. They're gonna come to you, they're gonna come to the jury and say, this is a ridiculous case. The prosecution is trying to make you convict off of these ridiculous things. They took 6 or 7 hours of your time. They're just trying to bring down Diddy, and they're trying to make up all of these things. I just have to take 1 hour to tell y'all that a lot of these, by the way, this is not me, I'm just telling you what they're gonna say, because I do think they did make some points, but this is what Diddy's defense team is gonna do. They're gonna make it short and sweet and be like, here, juror, let's go. They're going to attempt to be different from the prosecution. The prosecution put on a 7-week trial. The defense put on a 15-minute trial. Same things are gonna happen with closing arguments. The prosecution walked right into Mark and Diddy's defense team's trap. Very, very smart move. I was trying to figure out what they were doing, and I only figured it out after. Anyways, let's get back to the day. They said, okay, we're gonna continue with forced labor. They talked about Capricorn Clark saying that she worked overtime. He owed her $80,000 worth of overtime. He brought her to do a lie detector test. She needed a job, and Diddy said that she was gonna blackball her. That's forced labor. You should convict him for that. They talked about, ooh, we're at the end. We're at 2 more pages. Finally. Wow, I did it in an hour and 20 minutes, not so bad. So then they talked about witness tampering, which is the last predicate act. They're like, witness tampering, he witness tampered with Jane and Mia. He called Jane and recorded her and tried to like trip her up. Let's not get into that. He said he tried to witness tamper Mia when he had D-Rock text Mia and ask her, you know, after the Cassie lawsuit came out and tried to trip her up. Let's just not even get into it, all right? That, they say, is witness tampering, okay? I really don't think they have anything on witness tampering. I really feel like that's a stretch. So they say, well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I know you had a long day. That was our proof for Rico. We just want to remind you people that you only need, we took 7 hours to talk to you guys about friggin' Rico, but you only need to find 2. And they're like, we just want to remind you, DRUG with distribution, the K word, taking somebody, arson, bribery, SEX trafficking, selling yourself, forced labor, or witness tampering. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 8, ladies and gentlemen. You only have to find 2. We just took your entire day, bored you to no extent. We know you're tired, but when you're in deliberation, listen to our whole 7 hours of boredom and make sure you find 2. So it's up to you guys if you find 2 out of that, okay? I tried to make it as exciting as possible, but trust me, they were nowhere near exciting as I was, all right? Prosecution team, hire me next time. All right, so the last thing they said, which is something I really didn't know about, is they said one thing that you have to consider, and we've proven it, is venue. You must find that one of the acts in the charge took part in the Southern District of New York, whether it be Manhattan or the Bronx. What that basically is saying is, under the predicate acts, or even in the SEX trafficking or the Mann Act, at least one of those counts had to have taken place in Manhattan. I just said every single thing that we told you guys about at least one time. Yes, sometimes it happened in Turks. Yes, sometimes it happened in Cannes. Yes, sometimes it happened in Miami. Yes, sometimes it happened blah, blah, blah. But at least one of those times happened here in Manhattan, and we have covered the venue stature, okay? She said, before I leave, I want to thank you for your time. She gave a quick summary of everything that she said. She took around 5 minutes. And she ended off with this. She ended strong, grand opening, grand closing. She said, at the end of the day, this is a famous, powerful, influential billionaire with truckloads of money. However, he is a criminal, and you must find him guilty. Boom, mic drop. And that was it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the prosecution's closing arguments. I did it all for you guys in 1 hour and 22 minutes. I just sat through 7 hours and I summed it up for you guys in 1 hour and 22 minutes. Give me some horns for that. In the rain, with rats running around me, with people trying to touch me and all of that stuff. That is the day, y'all. That is the day. What do you guys think? Let me get to the chat now. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do you think that they made a strong case for themselves? Do you guys think that the jury, hold on, is that boo for me or is the boo for them? I hope that boo is for them. All right, there we go. Great job. Okay, so okay, let me be clear. Let me know how you guys think I did. Give me some thumbs up for the presentation. Excellent job. You know what you think. Great podcasting trend. All right, perfect. Thank you. Respect. All right, okay. Hold on, I'll wait for him. There we go, some horns. Fantastic job, excellent. Thank you. Y'all know my thing, man. If you don't love yourself and applaud yourself, then no one's gonna applaud you. So thank you. I tried to make it exciting and I tried to make it as quick as I can. Woo! Tough work out here. Okay, now, thank you for the applause. Now, second question is, what do you guys think about the closing arguments from the prosecution? Hey, I got a super chat. Ladybug, thank you very much. The prosecution is trash, and it sounded like today was a snooze fest. Love your reporting. One love from North Carolina. Come on and raise up. Take your shirt off. Like a helicopter. I always have to do that when somebody from North Carolina comes through. All right, you're doing a great job, Trent. Thank you very much. Somebody said boo for them. Yeah, if there's a boo or a thumbs down, please say for them. I want to make sure y'all ain't booing me, all right? I'm out here working for y'all. You always on point. Thank you so much. David Cruz, thumbs up. Great job. They didn't win me over. You did. Lovely on your commentary. Thank you very much. Somebody said, you fine, Trent. Thank you very much. NDYG Soul. Mary said, applause. Vance said, horrible people. Savannah said, I feel like just, hold on, sorry. I feel like just alone, I found a lot of things the defense can argue back. Ooh, I totally agree with you, Savannah. Is it Savannah? I could do the closing arguments tomorrow. Literally, I could get Diddy off this case tomorrow. I could do the closing arguments. What? The things that they said today, that's why I'm telling you, they left it open. Yo, and this is just you and I. Imagine Diddy's defense team, some of the best defense lawyers in the United States of America, they are going to eat this up. If Diddy gets found guilty, it will be because they dropped the ball tomorrow. The prosecution, although they did make some good points, and like I said, the strongest point for me is, hey guys, we just want to remind you, you only have to find one time. Do they have any direct evidence? No. Do you believe that Cassie was being drugged back into on that CNN tape to do a freak off? Do you believe Jane's story when he said, hey, take this DRUG, go back in and don't disturb my night? There's been certain things that sound very believable, but will the jury take one of those times and find him guilty? If I had a chance tomorrow to do closing arguments, I'm sure I could get Diddy off just by that long, boring presentation that the prosecution put on today. Very disappointed. Oh, by the way, I want to say this too. I think Maureen Comey should have done the closing. When she gets, and she is the lead prosecutor, when she gets on that stand and cross-examines people, somebody could be testifying for a day. Let's say like there's direct, then there's cross, and then she can get up and redirect. She wakes everybody up in the room and she gets people back on point. Maureen Comey should have done that closing argument. It would have been a different story. I would have been coming out here being like, yo, Diddy's done. Diddy is done. However, small little asterisk, it's possible after Mark or whoever does the closing tomorrow, their closing arguments, the prosecution has an opportunity to do a redirect on their closing. That could be the time where Maureen Comey gets up, and I think they have an hour to redirect after their closing arguments. They could be setting it up for Maureen Comey to come in and wipe the floor with Diddy's defense team. We'll see. Anyway, somebody said, good job. Defense might get one member of the jury. That's all they need, y'all. That is all they need. They have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. There can't even be a question. Cannot be a question. Prosecutors tied everything together. Okay, you think so? I think they did, but not everything together. And I just feel their delivery. Don't get me wrong. It's not that they did a horrible job with the content. They did a horrible job with the presentation. They are not presenting to an AI. If the prosecution could feed their case into AI, Diddy would be found guilty. These are people. These are human beings. These are people from all different walks of life. And all it takes is for one person to have doubt for it to be a hung jury. Keep that in mind. That's very, very hard. Technically, they did a fantastic job from a technical, boring, unrelatable standpoint. But we are not AI. We are human beings. There's older people in there. There's younger people. There's men. There's women. There's people from all different walks of life. There's black people. There's white people. There's minorities. You never know what somebody's thinking. All you need is one person. And I just feel they went over technical and they didn't do a good enough job at reaching everybody on that jury. If somebody there was over technical, I'm sure they got them. But not everybody is built the same way. That's why I feel like they failed to me. Somebody says it was trash. Somebody says super chat. Thank you. Well, you didn't give me a super chat, but you said super chat. But I'll never lie. Somebody said, okay, I don't read out other YouTubers' name, but is Uncle Russ's, who said at her mouth black, don't know la. Anyways, I can't read that because it's about another YouTuber. And we all sit together. I love all the YouTubers. Shout out to all the YouTubers. You are my only Diddy resource. Respect. Thank you very much. Somebody else said, Mira said, you did a great job. Janie Golan gave me the whoop whoop. Thank you very much. Somebody said weak. Somebody said word salad. I hope you're talking about the prosecution and not me. They are dull of themselves. Hit the like button, subscribe. All 12 jurors guilty. No way. I totally agree. I'm not saying no way, but it's going to be hard. David Gordon said, great job. Suzette Summer gave me a round of applause. Molly Brandon, it was good, just long. Yeah, trust me, really long. And again, I wish they had cameras and you guys could see how monotonous and boring. Like, y'all know me, I cannot talk monotone. Like, I gotta just be exciting. That's how I am. Let's say my level today was a 9. If you had to put in contrast how she was talking, let's say mine was a 10, she was at like a 2 or 3, and she was reading. She never went off the cuff even once. She never ad-libbed one. Every single thing was reading. Again, you could have just put, you know, those like on Siri, you could be like, hey Siri, read me this paragraph. That is what it was like in the room today. They wrote everything out and they just stuck somebody there to read it. That's not a closing arguments, man. It's just not. It's just not. I'm sorry. Prosecution was trash. Free Diddy. It's midnight here in South Africa. I was waiting for your update. Thank you so much, Duchess James. Frisco said, what's your opinion? Do they find him guilty or not guilty? Yeah, I gotta wait for tomorrow. I gotta wait for tomorrow, man. We gotta hear the whole thing. England in the house. That's Paul. I got a super chat coming up. Derek Patterson says, this case is a waste of taxpayers' money. Stacy said, 2K watching. Hit that like and subscribe. Stacy gave me a super chat. Thank you, Stacy. Somebody put the Jamaican flags in the chat. Emily White, bah, 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 bah. Shout out to my yacht, massive, big up. Somebody says common sense. Okay, boom, boom, okay, there's a lot of, there's a super chat. Hold on, super chat. Somebody said, this is from travel agency, Jet Life Travel Agency with the super chat. Thank you so much. Boop, boop. I just gave that a like. So do you feel like Puff is gonna be found innocent or guilty? I'll let you guys know more tomorrow. All I have to say right now is an advantage Diddy. After that closing argument, like I said, technically sound, and they're prosecutors, right? Like that's just who they are, technically sound, but no emotion, no vibe, no bravado. They left the door open for Diddy's team to kick down that door and bring in some pizzazz and bring in some flair and bring in some passion. Charisma and passion says everything, man. And I'll tell you guys this, from what I hear, it's supposed to be Mark Agnifilo doing the closing. And I've always said, great guy, like I told you, he came up, shook my hand today, said thanks for being here. Great guy, he's a nice guy, but I feel like he's like too joking around. Like I didn't like the karaoke or whatever. But, listen to this. I think they should actually have him do the closing tomorrow because it is a stark difference from the prosecution's monotone boringness. He gets up there, he is filled with personality, and he's a brilliant lawyer, don't get me wrong. But if he gets up there and shows a different side and shows personality and shows why you should at least have a reasonable doubt, just remember, he doesn't have to prove Diddy's innocence. All he has to do is prove beyond a reasonable doubt. The burden of proof is on the prosecution, and personality and charisma can win people over. I see it happen every day. This is not AI. This is not a computer. This is people. The government will respond. Okay, hold on. I got to just go down to the bottom here because it's way too much for me to get through. Whoa, it's another super chat. Hold on. No, I got to stop it. Thank you for your reporting, Trent. Get some snacks. Oh, thank you, Ms. Mess Wrench, I think it's pronounced. Sorry, I'm dyslexic, but thank you so much. I'm going to give you a heart. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm scrolling all the way down. All right, I'm at the bottom now. So, whoa, shit. Shoot. Sorry, YouTube, don't flag me. All right, I'm 3 minutes over my time. I'm going to go 5 minutes more. Give me some questions, y'all. Talk to me. Do you think the jury will deliberate tomorrow? Very good question. Maybe I'll go 7 more minutes. Okay, 7 more minutes. I'll go to 100 minutes, which is what, an hour and 40. I'll cut at an hour and 40, okay? Do I think the jury will deliberate tomorrow? A possibility. If my theory is correct and Mark doesn't take his 4 hours, and again, I should have thought about that before. He's been playing that game since the beginning. Oh, we're going to put on the defense for 3 weeks. Oh, it's going to be 2 weeks. Oh, it's going to be 1 week. Maureen Comey is like, oh, can you give me your list of witnesses? Oh, we're checking on flights. We're checking on this. Last minute, he's like, psych. Nah, we ain't putting on no witnesses, y'all. We don't got to prove nothing. You guys put on a horrible case. Again, that's just their opinion, but you guys put on a horrible case. You didn't prove nothing. We don't need no witnesses. He might do the same thing tomorrow and be like, psych. Nah, we are done. We are talking for 1 hour. We think the prosecution was horrible. They didn't prove nothing. We don't need 4 hours. Y'all go deliberate and set my client free. I could see Mark doing that. Somebody says, leave Usher out of this. I'm not even going to read that. Do you think Brian Steele would be better at closing arguments? Listen, I love Brian, super nice guy. I actually said hi to him today. I talked with him a little bit, not about the case, which we're not allowed to, but really, really nice guy. Now, Brian is my type of lawyer. Why? Because he is a writer. You remember in the Thug case when they said that he was in contempt of court? He didn't even try to get himself out of contempt. He's like, yo, Your Honor, if you're gonna send me to jail, send me to the jail that Young Thug is in so that we can work on the weekends on his case. Like Brian, when he cross-examines somebody, he does not care how many times you object, how many times like, you know, he does stuff wrong. He will put himself out on the line for his client. Love Brian. He's one of my favorite. Him and Nicole are my two favorite. Having said that, I don't think he would be great for closing arguments because of the fact that he has that mentality where he is riding for his client. He doesn't care what you think. He doesn't care what anybody else thinks. He just wants to get his client off, which is smart. But closing arguments, you have to have charisma. You got to work with people. You're talking to 12 people and 5 alternates. You're talking to 17 people with different walks of life. You're talking to men and women. You're talking with different ethnicities. You got to be able to read the room and play while you're talking, crack a joke and do whatever. I just don't think Brian has that in him. I think somebody like Mark would be good. I feel like Nicole would be good. I think also Tenny would be good too. But I see now why they're probably putting Mark, especially after today. Somebody said Brian is on his Tupac-ish. 1000%, Brian's my guy, yo. Trust me, Brian is the lord that I want to hang out with. But they're all really cool. And also Xavier Donaldson, the black lawyer, super good dude, super. They're all really nice. The feds really don't talk to us. Like Maureen, like she sees me there every day. She might crack a little smile or whatever, but the rest of the prosecution, if they walk by me on the street, I wouldn't even know their name. Everybody on Diddy's defense team is super chill. You also have to know that they know that we're content creators, they know that we're YouTubers, and then they know also the press is on the other side. And as much good press as they can get for Diddy, the better, right? He is famous. He definitely has a public image. If he gets off, he doesn't want the press dragging him and he loses endorsements when he tries to get back on. So you got to know that they're also playing a game. So I keep that in the back of my head. But you can also read the room and know when you're dealing with nice people. They are really just nice people. And Mark is just a genuine nice guy, right? All right, we got 3 more minutes. Brian still should do the closing arguments. All right, that's up to you. Somebody said, good job. You got that. Thank you, said. I've never seen baby oil. I'll never see baby oil the same. And you know what's so funny? Never once did the prosecution show anything about baby oil. Remember how we were all like, oh, baby oil has this in it, doing that? Baby oil had no part in this case, nothing illegal about it. He could have had 10,000 bottles of baby oil. He just liked to see the SCX workers and his girls glistened up. Nothing came over this. This case was so hyped up on social media. All of these things were gonna come out. The baby oil had this in it. It had that in it. There was this person, Jennifer Lopez, LeBron James, Jay-Z, Beyonce. It literally came down to Cassie, Jane, Bonna, Mia, Capricorn Clark, Kid Cudi. That's the famous person that we got, Kid Cudi. Yo, social media, yo, man. All right, let's keep going. We got 2 more minutes and then I'm out, y'all. Somebody said, okay, I'm not gonna say that. What's up with, hey, how do you guys know about, anyways, I'm not even gonna say her name. Anyways, go back and look at Tracy C's comment. That's funny, but I'm in the courtroom, so I have to be very, very careful. But I think that question that you're asking, I think that is one of the jurors that are going to vote not guilty. She is not amused with the prosecution at all. She is definitely not feeling Jane. She is an old school soul. I feel like she's West Indian and she's like, I'm not having it. Those old school West Indian moms and grandmoms, they don't understand trauma bonding. They don't understand mental health. Trust me, the women in my family, the older women in my family, they're like, we don't know what you're talking about, Trent. You know, and I'm a mental health advocate. I know how they think. That's just my guess that she will probably do a not guilty vote. That's just there's 3 jurors I think that will vote not guilty. All right, 1 more minute, keep it coming. Lisa said, Usher, J-Lo, everybody. Jane hurt the case. I'll leave that up to y'all. Somebody said, oh, on another channel, that's the problem. You have better ish come in to your life, Trenty. Well, thank you very much. Somebody said, hold on, this is 100% sure closing arguments for the caution was in the coffin. All right, somebody else said that another content creator said that the closing arguments was bang on and the nail that drive their point home. Listen, everybody is gonna have a difference of opinion. There's jurors that are gonna think guilty, not guilty. Just because I think the prosecution's case was technically right, but presented wrong, doesn't mean another YouTuber is not gonna sit down here and tell you, the prosecution did an amazing job and it's over. Some people, we had that conversation before we get let out. There's only 14 of us, all right? We all know who each other is. We all know our channels. We all talk to each other. We're all homies. We're all cool, okay? So you're gonna get some of us that will come out here and be like, yo, they did a great job. However, there was no charisma. It was boring. I don't feel it landed. You're gonna get some other people that said, the prosecution did the best job ever. They're done. Diddy is over. Doesn't matter. Why I'm highlighting that is what you're gonna get out of a jury. You're gonna get a jury that gets the case, and some people are gonna say guilty or not guilty. That is the beauty of our judicial system. That's the beauty of this world, and the beauty of especially my channel, where I feel like if you just go in the comment section, some people are like, yo, I feel like he's going away forever, and some people are free Diddy. So, you know, when you guys tell me about other content creators, it's I totally respect everyone's opinion, man. I love that we have these kind of platforms where we can say whatever we want and that you guys support us and love us, man. So support all the content creators. Also shout out to NBC and CNN and TMZ. They're over there too, but it's kind of like a little bit of a battle, like legacy media versus new media. So if anything, watch other YouTubers and support other content creators, and don't watch CNN and TMZ and all them, all right? Support your independent people that are out here with umbrellas giving you the latest and greatest directly, all right? So shout out to the new media, the new content creators, the new YouTubers, yo. Shout out. So I said, cannot wait till tomorrow. Nobody is copying, what? No, somebody is copying your live now and playing it on their channel. Really? Somebody's copying my live? And yo, I'm gonna contact YouTube, yo. All right. What time is closing arguments tomorrow? Good question before I leave. I'm over time now. I did an hour and 40 minutes. This might be my longest live yet. Tomorrow, closing arguments. They're preparing for a big day. The judge says that they will get, he will get on the bench at 8:30. Closing arguments will start at 9. By the way, sorry that I didn't come out at lunchtime, but they gave a strict rule that if you're not back on time, when court starts, they will not let you back in. So they only gave us half an hour. I had no time to come out. That might be the same tomorrow. I'll try if they give us a little bit longer. I will still do my normal morning live. Y'all know I talk to my sources at night. I try to get you guys some leak information, try to find out what is gonna happen in closing arguments. So stay tuned to my live tomorrow morning. I normally go live around 7 a.m. It will be a quick half an hour. I'll get in court. It will be closing arguments from the defense starting at 9. I'll try to come back out at 12. If not, I'll definitely be out at 4 or 5 o'clock, giving you a roundup for the day. And hopefully we'll have a little bit more direction and find out what is gonna happen to the diddler. Tomorrow we'll get closing arguments. We'll get jury instructions, which is 100 pages. I'm gonna have to sit through so much tomorrow. Jury instructions. Maybe the jury might start deliberations on Friday, but definitely they will start on Monday. Stay tuned tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. I will see you guys, and also Friday afternoon around this time, 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'll see you tomorrow. You guys have a great day. And by the way, no podcast again today. It's for my out louders that wait for the recorded. It's just too much going on, and tomorrow is such a huge day. I need to get some sleep. If I tried to record, for those of you who don't know, I also do a daily podcast where we cover entertainment, viral, and political news. That's recorded, not live. We also cover other stuff other than Diddy, but I can't. We're at the home stretch. I can't do it anymore. If I can't do something 100%, I don't do it. So there'll be no more podcasts for the rest of this week. And yeah, sorry about that, guys. Lives, Diddy trial for the rest of this week, okay? I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. I love you guys. Thank you very much for the support. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. or Friday, 5 p.m. tomorrow to wrap up the day. Peace.